Africans are spending more money on public transport. They're also spending more time on the roads. Sounds like a really bad combination. Let's get some details. Reporter Michael Marillier joins me at the big screen now. So, Michael, you're looking at a survey from Stats SA. This survey, I understand, done just before lockdown, the 3 months prior to lockdown. But the study asked people about their daily experience on our roads. What did they say?
Sally, lots of complaints, I can tell you that much. One aspect of the survey actually asked people to list their biggest issues when it comes to transport on a daily basis. And we've got the top 6 or 7 right here. Really interesting, Sally, that many of the problems revolve around the issue of availability. So in other words, a bus wasn't available or the bus wasn't leaving at a certain time. Often people expect buses to leave late at night, for instance, and they simply aren't available. And it seems buses were a really big issue in this particular survey. Take a look at that. 24% of the complaints actually linked to bus availability. When it came to trains, Sally, we're talking just under 9%, and a similar figure for taxis. Also, a key figure to watch here, Sally, is that 13% over there, that pink slice of the graph. That deals with the conditions of our roads. A lot of concerns about the safety of our roads, of potholes, all those things which give you headaches on your way to work every day. Also, speaking of headaches, taxi drivers, 6% of complaints were linked to reckless driving by taxi drivers, and 8%, Sally, linked to taxi fares. In other words, people saying that the cost was simply too expensive when using a taxi. And speaking of the costs, Sally, they really have rocketed over the last few years. What we're going to look at here is the average cost of commuting via taxi per month and compare it from 2013 to 2020. Take a look at that. Average cost of about 515 Rand in 2013. Fast forward, Sally, 7 years to last year, and we're talking about around about 960 Rand. So we did the maths. That is a hike of 86%, Sally, in the space of just 7 years. So not only is public transport often uncomfortable, often, Sally, it's very expensive.
Yeah, and of course, the minibus taxi industry, they self-regulated, so they can charge whatever they think the customer will pay. And I suppose as our infrastructure around railways continues to erode, more and more people will have no choice but to take a more expensive taxi. So that's cost. Time, though, is also an issue, and that seems to affect across the board our public transport. Why is the daily commute taking longer and longer?
It sure is, Sally. Let's actually take a look at some of those numbers. Stats SA actually compared the duration of the daily commute to work from 2013 to 2020, so those same years as well, Sally. In 2013, the average taxi commute taking 50 minutes, so less than an hour. The bus commutes, an hour, 14 or 15 minutes, 74 minutes in other words, and the train pretty much the same, Sally. But let's fast forward to 2020 and take a look at what happens with the train commute. The average train commute now taking 107 minutes. That's an hour, 47 minutes just to get to work. Bus, an hour, 24 minutes or 84 minutes. And a taxi ride, 63 minutes. So we're talking more than an hour, Sally, just to get to your place of employment. It's an open question as to why it is taking so much longer. It could be more people on the roads needing to get to work. It could also be the fact that people are living increasingly on the fringes of cities, Sally, and so it's taking a lot longer to get to the CBDs. That could be an issue as well. We know that a consultant said a little bit earlier that spatial planning remains a big problem in South Africa. Either way, Sally, we have to try and resolve the problems that we see in those figures, because an efficient transport system usually translates into an efficient and productive economy.
Indeed, it does. Thank you so much, Michael Marillier.